All right, let me ask you something. Let's take a look at my screen here. Can you spot the difference between these two images? Well, one is linked and one is embedded, and you may not know what the difference is, so let's dive into it. Let's start with the bottom one here. First, let's go into wireframe. That is Command Y or Control Y on a PC. What you'll see is we've got a rectangle for our image, which we've got two of, and then we've got our vector artwork here and here. So this entire design in the background is all one rasterized image. I actually built it inside of Photoshop, but it could be any photograph, anything that you've created outside of Adobe Illustrator. So first, let's focus on the linked image. We have a blue box and a big blue X in the middle of it. That means it's linked. And also, if you go up here on the top left, you should see linked file. You should see the name of the linked file. It'll even show you where it is if you hover over it. Conversely, if we select our embedded image, you will see here, it just says group. It does not say that it's linked. So what is the difference? Well, a linked image lives outside of your Illustrator document. Illustrator is simply referencing your original image, or in this case, a Photoshop file. With an embedded image like this top one here, it is embedded directly into your Illustrator file. It is not pulling the information from your original file. Embedded images are stored directly inside the Illustrator file. Now you may be wondering, what are the advantages and disadvantages of each? Well, let me show you. I've created two individual files. First, I've got my embedded file, and second, I have my linked file. Now let's take a look at the linked image file. Coming back in here, we've got our linked image. Again, you'll see the blue rectangle with the X in the middle of it. And going back to our desktop, if I select the linked file and I look over here, my file size is way smaller. It's 8.5 megabytes versus 38. So it's a much smaller file. That's a huge benefit. Problem is, if I want to send this file to someone and they may have to open and edit it, then you need to send those images as well. Otherwise, the person on the other end will open it and get this error you can see here. But here's another big benefit to linked images. You can also edit the original image and it'll automatically update inside of Illustrator. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So this image, as you can see, is opening TSA_mural2. So in my desktop, if I open this up in Photoshop PSD file, I can make some changes in here. So let's select this turtle, for example, right here. And as you can see, kind of blue and teal. So let's just come in here and add an adjustment of a gradient map. And let's just change the color. It could have been that, but let's make it a little more obvious. We'll go purple and blue. Now let's come over here and change the color of this guy. Sure, we'll just make him black and white. So we'll just hit save here. That's important. And once it's saved, if we open back up Illustrator, we should get an error saying, hey, this has changed outside of it. Do you want to update the link? So it took a moment to realize on its own, but most of the time it'll catch it for you. And then you can choose whether to update or not. If that doesn't pop up in a timely fashion, we just direct select that image. We can click up here and go to update link. And now, as you can see, it is updated fully. So it's pulling that information directly out of the reference image, which can save a lot of time and ensure that you're using the most recent version in your Illustrator document. So if we take a look at our embedded file here on my desktop, I've saved it as a PDF directly out of Illustrator. And if we select that here, we're going to see that we have a fairly large file size. It's 38 megabytes. That's the large disadvantage. Now let's talk about the advantages. The main advantage of an embedded file is you have everything within your Illustrator document. You have one file, you can send it to anyone. If they open it, it'll all open inside of it. Now, let's say that you're working in your embedded document and you actually do want to change that background. To update the link and simply bring it back in. So I'm going to drag this back into here, and then I'm going to click the embed button. I'm going to flatten it as a single image, and then I can bring this image into here and re-update it. It's inside of a group and so on. As you can see, it's a few more extra steps. That's why having a linked image can be really advantageous. Now, importantly, if you create a document with a linked image and you ever move it, let me show you how to find it again. We're just going to select our document, and if this image has been lost, we're just going to go up here and click relink, and then you can go ahead and find the link that you want. You can actually use that same feature to just completely change the image if you have a different image you want to use. I already showed you that you can update the link, and you can even click edit in Photoshop, open it directly in a Photoshop even faster. Now, if for some reason you ever want to pull an embedded image outside of Illustrator and back separately, you can just select the image and come up here till you see unembed. You can save it here. Now, if we just put test, you'll see in a moment, we're going to unembed that like so. And now this is turned into a linked image because we've unembedded it. Now the problem is, because I had a Photoshop file originally, Illustrator will not retain all the layers and information. It's basically, once you've embedded it inside of your Illustrator document, it becomes a raster image. So if I open this test file in Adobe Photoshop, you will see it's just all on one layer and it is not editable like it was before. So you're not getting back that original information. Also, if you want to, you can actually just open up your links panel. So you go to Window and down to Links. I've got it right here. And what's handy about this is it'll show your images in here, but it'll show which one is linked and which one is embedded. So this top one is embedded, and you'll see there's no little link icon here. And down here, it is linked, and it'll show you that. And all the options that I had shown you up here are actually down here as well. So you can see relink from CC libraries, relink, go to link. It's all the same information. One great thing about having the links panel opened is you can more quickly see a lot more information about the image. So if we click here with this little arrow, show link info, we can see exactly where it's from, that it's using the RGB color space, what the resolution is, the dimensions, the scale, the size of the image when it was created, tons of information there, and that will work as well on our embedded file. So using the links panel can be really useful when you need it, especially if you have a busier document with a lot of images. In this case, I've only got one, so it's not a big deal. It's also worth noting that linked images don't have to be a photograph. It can be a graphic of any type, an illustration as you saw, or even a logo. So if then you make a change to your logo and save it in a separate file, but it's linked in Illustrator, it'll automatically update to those changes as soon as you open your Illustrator document, or like I showed you, you can click relink. So there's a lot of advantages to having a linked file and a couple disadvantages when you're going to send it to someone else. And you have to make sure you don't lose that original linked file. So you have to maybe keep it all grouped and nicely organized in a folder. So I hope that clears up what the difference is between embedded and linked images inside of Adobe Illustrator. If you think I missed anything, please let me know. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, and please do hit subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.